Got some good stuff for y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoy the content that's shared on A Productive Vibe. It's a lot of good energy and good planning and good researching and good conversations that happen for the Productive Vibe to really happen. My goal is always to get a worldly view on things. Like I want to know all the different lenses in which people make decisions and engage in conversation, and really just at the bottom of it change their mindset and mentality, their focus, and if it's important to know what I want their focus to be on is on the execution, getting something accomplished, making plays.
One day I'll be on top of the world. Yeah. That's just how I feel right now. It feels good. Yeah. It feels good. Yeah. It feels good.
That's what making plays feels like. It feels good. It feels like winning. This is Calssic Talks podcast, where we subscribe to a next play mentality, one conversation at a time. I am Dr. Calssic. Let's talk about it. Thank you for joining us for a Productive Vibe session. This is really for us to have a good time, but really do some good things during the time. I'm not sure what you guys do when you sit at home or you hang out with loved ones, or you sitting around and talking to your children, your immediate circle, whatever it may be. Be intentional about what we're talking about today, and that's really learning Black history.
Yes.
I know we get a month out of the year where we can learn Black history, but I like this month though. I like this month because every year I learn something new. Every year something changes that I have access to, and it's like, that's a different way or a different story than what I've been taught. Yeah. And I think a lot of us get into that space. Like, it goes against everything I've been taught, from finances to food to, just the way you take care of your mind. It just goes against everything we've been taught. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is make an intentional effort to learn Black history. Doesn't matter if you're Black or not. The good thing that we are in an age where it's really impossible to be uninformed.
Yes.
Right? But it is possible to be misinformed.
Definitely.
That's the strategy, right? Being misinformed is a strategy. So you have the floodgates open with so much information, so much data, so many statistics. And after a while, it's like you're overinformed. A lot of times you're misinformed because even the news is not there to educate us. It's there to engage us and entertain us. Right?
Yeah.
So it's there to cause fear sometimes. Like, it needs to get you riled up so that there's a response that you're going to have. Mm-hmm. For some of us, what we're learning, it validates what we figured or thought or believed already, right? There were some things that we just knew deep down. I did. Like, that don't make no sense.
Don't make sense. Right. Deep down inside,
don't make no sense.
Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Something ain't right. And then for others, it makes you angry, right? It makes you ashamed. It makes you question. It makes this last 12, 13 months more than ever made you have classic talks, right?
Yes.
It made you talk to somebody. We got into a place this last 9 months where we were seeing things differently than we ever could imagine. Slavery is only 156 years old, right? And I say only in capital letters, only. There are still so many systematic problems and oppression and strategy that still, down to our DNA, still exist, right? It still is affecting and impacting people. We have to get to a place where we do, one, celebrate the passing, the courage. Like, 156 years ago, you never turn on the TV and see a national professional sport that has Black Lives Matter on the jerseys. Respect us. Education reform.
Yes.
This year, the fans for the U.S. Open got to see Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor unmasked, right? We seen people paint and do calligraphy on national streets to say like, Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
The funny thing is that this is a new concept, right? This is a brand new thing to see Black Lives Matter. Natural is beautiful. We used to authentically feel like our hair should be straightened. We need to get it to a place where, you know, it's permed, and it's almost like if you didn't have that kind of hairstyle, then you were on the wrong side of beauty.
Yeah.
Natural is beautiful, and we're getting a chance to see that, but this is new, right? We're also getting a chance to understand that there are a lot of, if we think Black women, there are a lot of queens that are wearing very crooked crowns, and it's been given to us like that.
Yes.
Right? There are a lot of men who are supposed to be men to a society, but it's natural for them not to be men in their homes. Right? You act and you conduct yourself accordingly when you are out in the street. Like, that is the expectation. But at home, we expect for you to not be good fathers, not be, you know, vulnerable men, not take partnership in women. You know what I mean? It's more or less, I seen something that said, women get to choose who they want to have sex with. Men get what they get. And then the comment right below it from a Black man, men get to choose who they want to marry. Women get what they get. And it's such a reversed way of thinking, right? Honestly, truly, we need to take more thought and process at who we share those. Really, our soul, our body, our beliefs, our mind, our love. Like, you can be choosing in that scenario and situation. It's deep.
That's deep.
You can be choosing.
It don't matter if you're a woman or a man. You should be choosing.
Choose hard.
Man.
Because what happens after we make a very quick choice, or a very shallow choice, or insecure choice, or I want to be long choice, or I want to be loved choice, we have to deal with the consequences and the outcomes from that, right?
Exactly.
We need to learn too, one thing that, and I've had so many conversations about reparations. It's just been something that, you know, people want to get my opinion on. They ask me questions about it. One, I'll say it out loud. Reparations are possible. I know we are in a place where, you know, you're never going to get what you need to get. There have been many countries and nations that have been paid and do their reparations. So for some reason, we haven't gotten ours. We have to remember that that Johnson's proclamation, that was a real thing. That canceled our 40 acres and a mule. Mm-hmm. And for me, the reparation is tied to so much more than finances. It's tied towards an apology and acknowledgement. That's the only way we're going to be able to move forward and change things, if we can really get to a place where we acknowledge it happened. How do you change something that you didn't even give privilege or attention or acknowledgement to say that it happened?
Exactly.
Right? So, yeah, reparations are possible. Even the monetary piece of reparations are possible. And I'm also looking for the reform or the restore part of it. There are going to be so many people that are missed. It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of trauma.
So much.
But at the same time, we have to be willing to say, how can I, as an individual, get past, treat, pay attention to, be direct about how I'm feeling, what's real, what's not real, what's emotion driven, what's your next play, right? I want to get to a place too, and I feel like I can talk for hours about Black history, like I can talk for a very long time, but one of the messages I want to give to you guys, and the late John Lewis said it best, like, get in good trouble. It's okay to get in good trouble, right? Let me be very clear in saying that the Next Play Mentality Entertainment LLC, the studios, the company, we support a diverse audience, right? It's not, there's no secret. We have, white America is not necessarily as a whole against the mission, against Blacks rising. There, it's just not necessarily the case. We see a lot of catalysts for change in white America that speak for Black lives. We see a lot of activism on their side of the house that speaks towards Black lives, right? We want to be clear that this isn't a, if you're not Black, you're against us conversation. It's more or less, how can we learn, grow, and move forward together type of conversation. How do we acknowledge that there is a privilege?
Exactly.
Privilege is part of the problem, right? Mm-hmm. And You don't need to be ashamed of the privilege. That is by far the last piece that I want to see happen. It's more or less, how do you use it to make sure other people experience the privilege? And it may not be forefront in the skin color, but it's definitely in how you treat people, how you talk to people, what changes about you in your heart, right? So get in good trouble. When you see something, when you learn something, say something to our kids. Be a neighbor, right? Co-workers. A lot can happen when you talk. Sometimes people are just misinformed, and they're leading and living lives and having paths off of just being misinformed. Yeah. What the information they gather and how they feel about it, and they're living this way. Conversations get into perceptions, and perceptions are realities. And that's where the perception changes, and that's where the reality changes for people. So continue to have conversations. Continue to get into good trouble. Remember, the Fair Housing Act took place 52 years ago. My grandma older than 52. Your grandma probably older than 52.
My grandmother's in her 80s.
So 52 years ago, we even just got to a place where it was something written down to say we should have fair housing. Yes. We have to still work through redlining. We have to still work through the fact that our education is funded by our poverty levels in the homes and economics that we live in. Yes. So if you're in a poor area, the funding to your education is going to be just as poor. It's a problem with that, right? We shouldn't pump more money into things that are already doing really well. We need to figure out how to change those things. Those are a part of the systematic pieces. Good trouble is starting to point out where there is trouble in general. Make it good by how can we talk about changing it, right? So I want to make sure that you understand that there's a mission here. And primarily the way that you get involved is you start by learning. Learn as much as you can. Get involved in the history. Get involved in what happens, what occurs. And be comfortable in the skin you're in. Be comfortable in the skin you're in. Be you unapologetically, matter-of-factly, as I got from one of my interviews before. And remember to continue to make plays.
Good stuff. A lot of good information. I just want to add to that. Again, be vulnerable. Be open-minded. Yeah. Dive in. Do as much research as you can. And share that information. Share with your kids, share with your family. We need to know our history.
Absolutely.
We've been lied to all of our lives, pretty much. So
a lot.
And make plays.
Make plays. Do us a huge favor. Let's keep this message going. We are getting awesome responses from the conversation that we're having. NPM has a session for you, whether it's the Productive Vibe session. We are now bringing you radio, TV. Yes. We have so many different things going on in this entertainment platform, and we're just hopeful that people can grab on to the mission, be a part of the mission, and by all means, remember that the mission is the mission. All right. Yes. Next play mentality will help you get there. Make plays. Remember to, if nothing else, talk about it. I am Dr. Calssic, and it is Quinn with Quinn's Collective. Until next time. One conversation at a time. I am Dr. Calssic. Let's talk about it.